In this video we're going to be looking at the Swansea Copperopolis newsletter task. Now, as you can see on screen, this is an exact copy of what you're going to have in your book. To do this, you're going to have to use a few little extra tools you may not have seen before. But the task is you will have to create a Swansea History Post newsletter with lots of information about Copperopolis. Follow the instructions closely and use what you've learned already to create this newsletter. And an example of what it should look like roughly towards the end is there, so you can see the orange background and the pictures and everything included. So number one, set the page orientation, page layout to landscape. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to set up a new page. As you can see, it overlaps the other one. So if I click on the top of the bar and move it to the right like that, it stays on the right. And if I do the same with the other one, I got the one on the left, so I can have both on screen at the same time, so I can read the instructions and still do it on the other page, rather than flicking back and forth between each one and forgetting the words, so it makes things a bit easier. So I'm going to change the page orientation now to the landscape, so I've got up to page layout, click on orientation, and now it's changed to landscape. I'm going to set the margins to narrow. Again, I'm in page layout, and you can see the margins button. I've gone down and selected narrow. Next, I'm going to change the page color to a pale yellow or orange color, so that sort of style. So again, on page layout, page color, and I've kind of picked a sort of light orange color there. Next, I'm going to change the amount of columns to 2. So again, page layout, columns, and I've done 2, so I've changed that over as well. Add a heading, Swansea History Post, change the font to fit the purpose of the newsletter. What I mean by purpose is, if you had an old history type newsletter, you wouldn't maybe have a modern type font. You pick the font to suit the audience that are going to be viewing it. In this case, I'm just going to put in Swansea History Post. I've got up to the different fonts. I'm just going to scroll through, have a little look, and pick something with some nice, maybe that old Gothic one there. So it kind of looks, maybe it'll fit, like it would fit in history newspaper. It suits a bit better rather than just some sort of fancy old writing. So I've changed the font size as well to make it nice and big, just the heading of the newsletter. Change the font size to something suitable for this heading. Fine. Number 7, add the subheading Copperopolis and make it the same font and size as the main heading. Now I changed the size down a bit because I didn't want it to stand out more than the heading, but if you want to keep it the same size, you can. Use the following link and copy and paste the text after the instructions to your newsletter. So, to use it, you've got to hold down Control and click on the link, and it will automatically bring up the web page like that. So, after instructions, so the word instruction, there's Swansea, there we go, instruction. So, after that, I'm going to highlight the word, so I'm going to go all the way down, all the way down. I'm not going to get that link at the bottom, I'm going to miss that out. And I'm going to use copy, and then I'm going to place it here, and I'm going to paste it. Now, depending on the web browser you use, sometimes this can be a bit tricky because it will put the black background on there and the white writing. To change that around sometimes can be a bit tricky. You might have some small mistakes there, but do not worry. So what I'm going to do is highlight the entire text. I'm going to change the font color to black, but seeing as the background is black, you won't be able to see the text, so you can change the background to clear to nothing. In this view, it is a bit tricky to find things. They do move around slightly. So I changed the font style to black there, but the computer kept it the same because the background is the same. It's black. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to find, so I'm going to have to open up the page in full, it looks like here, because it's a lot trickier. So I don't want to change the page color, I'm keeping that the same. I'm going to open up the page in full, because I can't find what I'm looking for because it's moved. So again, as you can see, I'm moving around. I'm using that technique of searching for each button, hovering my mouse over it. What I'm looking for is to change the background of the text to clear. And there it goes, I can find it now. So I'm going to change that, not to white, I'm going to put no colour on it. So it goes to the background that I've set already. As you can see, there's a little bit left over. As I explained, sometimes this can be a bit tricky. Do not worry if there's a bit left over. I can see you've made the right choices there. Okay, save 2 or 3 of the pictures from the website to your computer. So I'm going to go back onto that website that I brought up originally. Oh, I missed one out. And I've got to fully justify the text. What that means is it puts straight lines on either side of the text. So straight on one side, straight on the other. It looks like a novel, it looks like a book, it looks a bit more professional if you do it that way as well. As you can see, even though I'm making the changes there to the font and it should go clear, it isn't doing it. Sometimes that will happen, don't worry too much about that. So, okay, now we're on to number 10. Save 2 or 3 of the pictures from that website to your computer. So the same website I had up before. If I go back up a little bit, you'll see there's a number of pictures. If I click on them, they'll open up nice and big, so you get a much nicer resolution. You can right click on it and save image as, and then save it to your computer. You can save it to the pictures folder. I don't mind where you save it as long as you're able to find it when you add it to Word. So there it goes. I'm going to put mine in pictures. As you can see, I've already done one before, so I'm going to save over it. Yes. So that's 1. You can do 2 or 3. I'm just going to do 2 for this example video. So there's my second one. I've clicked on it. I'm opening it up. Right click, save image as, and again save it in pictures, and then save. As you can see, the downloading it on the bottom of the page. So that's done. Now I need to go back to my Word document. So there's the one with the image instructions, and there's the one I'm creating. So insert the saved picture to the newsletter. Make sure you change the size to fit. So I'm going to go to the bottom of the page. You can see where my cursor is there. I'm going to go to Insert and Picture, and I'm going to select the picture I want, and then Insert. As you can see, it's pretty big. It's a bit maybe too big for what I'm looking for, so I'm going to drag the sizes in and make it a bit smaller than that. So I'm going to click on the image, and I'm going to, number 12, in the Picture Tool Format tab, use the Wrap Text button and select Tight. You can now move the picture wherever you want them. So again, because of the page is a bit small, it's a bit hard to find. That's what I'm looking for, so maximize, wrap text, or wrap image, and there we go. So I've wrapped it. That means I can drag it around. As you can see, the text will move around the image now, so it fits a bit nicer. That's what the tight select does. So moving it around, finding where I want it. I think I'm happy with it there. So there's one picture, and I'm going to do exactly the same for the next picture now. So I'll go to the bottom of the page, not to make a big mess of the work. I'm going to go to Insert, Picture, select the one I want. That's it there. Insert. Again, it's really big, so I'm going to go down, grab the corner, and just make it a bit smaller. I'm going to go to Wrap Text again, and make it tight. So again, the text will fit tightly around the image. I can move this up the top now, wherever I want. Put it there. I'm happy with it there. As you can see, because I've added images, it's taken up a bit of room, and some of the text is now off the page, and I don't want it to be off the page a little bit, so I'm going to reduce the size. I'm going to take it down to 9, still off the page. I've noticed as well that my text font box, you can see, is blank because it means there's 2 or maybe more fonts at the same time happening. So I've changed it so they're all the same font, and now I can make it the same size. Again, slightly off the page, so I'll make it smaller again, size 10. There we go. So it all fits on that one page. Happy with that. Number 13, using the Insert tab, add the Shape button. Draw a box around the text and picture, and make sure it suits the newsletter look more. So, as I said there, I'm going to go to the Insert tab at the top. I'm going to select Shapes, and then I'm going to draw a box around certain areas of the page to make it look more like a newspaper style, so it fits a bit nicer, it looks a bit nicer, more professional. So I've gone to Shapes, I'm going to select what I want. I've maximized the page, it makes it a bit easier to use. Zoom in out so I can see exactly what I'm doing on the page. So Shapes, there's my box. I'm going to draw around the headings because I want that in one box. When you draw it, it automatically puts in a blue background. It's Microsoft Word, it does blue. But I can then change it to no background in the fill, and the outline color I'm going to put as black. So I'm going to do the same again. Insert, Shape, pick a square, I'm I'm going to start from the corner of the last one, draw it across and cover the text this time. So it's going to go down there. Again, when I let go, it's going to have the blue background. So I go to shape fill, no fill, and then I go to the outline and select black again. So there it is. So that's my first part of the column with the box around it, so it looks a bit neater, it looks a bit more like a newsletter type style. Again, pick a box, I'm going to draw around the entire text this time. I'm not going to split it up. I'm just going to go all the way to the bottom when it moves. Try and line it up with the one on the left. Once I let go, it has blue again. Shape fill, no fill, and then the border is black. So there's my version that I've completed. I've gone through every single step, 1 to 13. Your task should look similar to this. As you can see on the one that you've got in your book, it's a bit of a more of a yellow background, but the images, the borders, the font style, everything is pretty much the same. You've gone through the questions, and everything is accurate. So it's looking nice and neat.